Um, so, hi, Denise.
Hi,
I
Cliff.
understand that you are working in the healthcare industry and during this pandemic. Tell us what life is like before the pandemic and what you're currently dealing with.
Okay, Cliff. I work in acute rehab, and the premises of patients that we see would go home, or if they're not quite ready for that, they go to subacute rehab. Our patient population is mainly people post-stroke after they have been stabilized, um, motor vehicular accident victims, where they might have fractured limbs, elderly people who fall and they have hip fractures and they need surgery and they come to us for rehabilitation. Sometimes traumatic brain injuries. Um, People come to us after back surgery. So the premises, they go home or they go to a lesser intense level. Very rarely do people die on our unit. We've had a few, but not very many. When this pandemic came into force, we were forced to close our rehab unit and convert it into a COVID floor.
Wow.
That, although it was a gradual change, it was something completely different because my office is in the middle of two units, north and south. And it felt as though I was surrounded by death on a daily basis because very frequently you heard the codes. The code 9 at my institution means that somebody's going into cardiac arrest and they need resuscitation. So throughout the day, that's all you heard. And it was a very dark period for us as physical therapists. Um, and then we saw the bodies going out.
Wow. Well,
So
in
it was a big change. Oh,
yeah, in the midst of it, um, what kind of relief did you have? I know that there's like when a baby is born, they also you hear in the audio system a certain familiar tune. Uh, any good news come through there during this pandemic time, or is it just always grim and
just quite recently, within the last week, they play a happy song when someone leaves who
excellent?
successfully has been treated for COVID, and that brings us some relief. It's a good balance between a code 99 and knowing that someone is actually going home. So
Fantastic.
that made us feel better. Um, the other thing is, although I worked on the rehab floor, we do see patients in the acute care settings immediately after strokes and fractures, surgery, and all that, but never to this level where we've worked with people who were gravely ill. I mean, many people ask, how come you're an essential worker as a physical therapist? What do you do? Why is it necessary for you to be there? And I have to explain that although they are sick, some of them do recover, and we help them to get back on their feet again. Like, for example, they're extremely weak. So we have to get them sitting at the edge of the bed, sitting up in a chair, eventually walking, show them exercises that will build up their strength and their endurance.
So tell me,
Um,
how has this experience changed you in a godly manner?
Well, let me tell you this. Before I started treating patients with the coronavirus, there would be I would pass the rooms, and all the rooms are closed. The doors are closed
Yeah.
to prevent the flow of infection. There would be a big sign, 2, 3 signs telling you to be careful, that the patient is on isolation. You never knew what was behind that door. So when I had my first patient, of course, there was some fear, some trepidation, because you didn't know. There was a patient with a name and a medical record number. And then you have to put on all the protective gear. For me, it was my N95 mask, a surgical mask over that. We have to wear a hairnet, a face shield, your gown, paper gown, and a plastic gown. It's extremely hot. So I went in there with, I must say, as I said before, I was fearful. But when I got in there, it was a different situation because I put a face to the name, right? And I started talking to some of them. And I was talking to this lady. She told me she would have been 99 in July. And we were talking about the celebration. I said, okay, next year you're going to be 90. And we laughed, but she did have some breathing difficulties. She couldn't do much on that day. The next day I went back and she was worse. I didn't even work with her. And she passed away that night.
Oh.
But when they're in the room, you know, they have no contact with even the people in the corridor. It's just them alone in the room. Maybe a TV, the phone if it's working. And although I'm there to do physical therapy, I find myself making calls to the relatives, connecting them with their loved ones, which gives them some, you know, some hope.
Connection, yes. Yeah.
Right. They need that. That's lost.
Yes.
Some of them just want to talk because there's nobody else to talk to.
Yes.
And this woman, she said to me, oh, I've told you my whole life story, you know, in like 20 minutes. And, you know, it's just sad that they have to be isolated.
Yes.
Many times they're in a room by themselves, not with anybody else. So it's extremely lonely. The woman I said before who passed away, she said to me, I'm scared. So I said to her, don't be scared. God is with you.
Yes.
You know, and you have to put yourself in their situation and think about how they feel and pray for them as well.
Yes.
Because there, but for the grace of God, go I. It could be me or a relative of mine in that situation.
Right.
But, okay.
How has this experience changed you?
You know, that it brings home the fact that life is very fragile.
Yeah.
Because it's not only the elderly who are affected. I've seen 25-year-olds, 90-something. And, you know, you have to focus on what is meaningful to you, your relationships, your church, your God. Definitely, if you did not have God in your life, I don't think I could have done it. Because I think God prepared me for it in a sort of a way. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gone in those rooms. I don't think I'm a hero. It's part of my job. If someone asked me if you had a choice, would you have gone? Knowing that you could be in danger, that your family could be in danger? No. I might have chosen not to go, but
Right.
I had no choice. I mean, all my vacation was suspended.
Right. Wow.
So you had to be there.
Yes.
I
And
mean, my coworkers have gotten sick, more than 50% of them.
So, I mean,
So it is a dangerous situation. Fortunately, no one was hospitalized.
okay. Okay. All right. So I imagine in this circumstance, a lot of people who don't know God find themselves asking for God.
Yeah, on a daily basis. I mean, my coworkers, I mean, there's more prayer,
Yes.
definitely, because you need to be covered before you go in there. You don't want to be infected.
Well,
And
Denise,
mhm.
I thank you for your service.
Wait a
And
minute. I have to tell you this
okay.
before you go.
Okay.
All right. I mean, it's not all um, gloom and doom.
Right.
And I have to tell you this uplifting story because it just occurred today. About a week and a half ago, I worked with this man. He was just off the ventilator. He was extremely weak. I had my doubts as to whether he could make it. When I sat him up, he was all over the place. He couldn't hold his head up. He was so weak. He couldn't stand. Um, Today, fast forward a week and a half, he was able to take 10 steps
All right.
to the door. And it was a hallelujah moment for me. We
Yeah.
were high-fiving, we were all excited. We were reminding him what he came from, how gravely ill he was.
Mhm.
And look what he's doing today. You know, it was such an achievement.
Yes.
And that's what makes my job rewarding and keeps me going.
I see it on the news when people are celebrated when they come out, and I'm cheering along with them, watching the news. You know, it's amazing. I can't imagine having being on a ventilator and because I was traumatized as a kid, you know, watching
Mhm.
somebody having an asthma attack, and this young lady just could not catch her breath. I never forgot that. And so this is really a you know this is really a horrible disease, and I hope and pray that it is God's will that we will and we will overcome this. This too shall pass. And but I do want to thank you for your
Mhm.
what you do, and I always say teachers and those who are in the healthcare industries are one of the two of the most noble professions, and my heart goes out to you guys. Um, Thank you, Denise.
Oh, you're welcome, Cliff.